Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthias Röder. I'm the CEO of the Karajan Institute. In this video, I'm going to talk to Andreas Spechtler of Silicon Castles about what the COVID-19 crisis will mean for our businesses going forward. Check it out. My guest today is Andreas Spechtler of Silicon Castles. He is a longtime partner of the Karajan Institute, in particular the Classical Music Hackathons and the Karajan Music Tech Conference. Andreas was the president of Dolby in Europe, and with his company he is now finding European technology diamonds and scaling their business globally. Andreas, welcome to the Karajan TV. We're really glad to have you.
Thank you for your invitation.
It's a pleasure. Andreas, you are publishing an article right now on the COVID-19 crisis. What does it mean for our economy, for our society? In particular, what does it mean for startups and the cultural industry? Tell us a little bit, is COVID-19 going to have a lasting impact in your opinion?
I think yes. I think this Corona crisis or COVID crisis 19 has really caught us on the wrong foot, I would say, specifically in the Western world, because we are so used to our freedom. We're so used that things work, and now suddenly things don't work. You cannot travel freely anymore. Maybe people watch your mobile phone and track you. So there are certain changes that we will experience here. In Asia, it's different. People are used to be under surveillance. So that's why they were also faster in fighting the Corona crisis. But I think there will be a couple of things that will change, and this will change for the next, I don't know, decade. So, I mean, think about your personal hygiene, the health and safety regulations that will be introduced. I mean, but this is also, of course, the huge business opportunity for companies, especially for young companies. I mean, there are new technologies needed for, let's say, conditional access to buildings. It's not only the simple access by implementation into the doors. There are different things. So you need to be able to show that you are healthy when you enter into building. Think about entering an opera house in the future.
So you mean it's going to be
so pop
highly
concert.
restricted, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, there will be restrictions. There will be restrictions for our health. I mean, actually, I don't like to go to a pop concert and stand next to 5 infected people with a virus, whatever the virus is. I mean,
yeah,
that's why I think there will be changes, and this will. I think in the end we will cope with it. We have to cope with it, and human and mankind always has been very, very quick in adapting to new situations. That's the good news. Actually, we survived a lot of bad diseases in the past, but things will change.
So do you think that there is currently a mind shift going on in how people perceive technology? Do you think that the fear of technology is now sort of going away, or how do you see that?
No, I think not. I mean, people who are afraid of technology might keep that fear, but I think the broader population sees the real benefits of technology. I mean, think about what we are doing here now. I mean, 4 weeks ago we thought we meet on the 3rd of April at the Karajan Music Tech in Salzburg, and we meet together. Now we're doing this online, and it works actually. So what has been very modern or only limited for a few people is becoming the normal. It's the new normal. I think that you use a video conference to communicate and to work together. So I think this is becoming the new normal. It is, and this has impact on many other businesses. I mean, think about aviation and tourism and other things that will be affected. But again, also here, I think we need to grab this situation and work on opportunities, how to survive. And if you look back in history of companies, actually in those crisis situations, new companies emerged.
Yeah, of course, the crisis is always a big chance. Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about the disruption first before we go into the chances. So
Mhm.
we have a situation in which digital is no longer an option. It's sort of a necessity.
Yes.
If you are not a digital business by now, you have to become one really quick, otherwise you will die. Um, what is the impact that this disruption of physical contact has right now in industries? In your opinion, what are the industries that are most hit by the crisis?
Well, I think, I mean, obviously the travel industry, and consequently then tourism,
Mhm.
um, airports. I mean, all the all the free movement of people affecting these businesses around that. So that could be also the end of some businesses.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need so many planes in the future, and you can say, well, it's even better also for our world and for our activities to fight pollution and environmental problems.
Mhm.
So it's kind of strange. The one crisis helps the other crisis somehow. On the other side, yes, that's what we have today. We see this trend. On the other side, you also have areas where new things will arise, and we talk
Mhm.
about that later. I think also traditional media.
Mhm. Yeah, let's
May,
talk about media. Yeah,
yeah,
media, film, music. What's the situation there, in your opinion?
I think this will be an industry that will change and
Mhm.
shift into more digital, but definitely entertainment media is needed, information is needed. So I think the traditional broadcasters and newspapers have now the chance to grab back actually market share from the pure digital offerings that we've
Mhm.
seen so far. I think social media needs to change. I think the fake news is I think the fake news will need to be better tackled on social media, because otherwise they lose their audience. I mean, it's about spending time on media, and it's the fight about the time on media. And now, right now, I mean, interestingly, at least in Europe, I see that public TV gets a new second chance of objective information
Mhm.
delivery to the population. Online media, that, I mean, quality journalism will come back. I think this is a big chance, but I think they have to do something for that. So it's not given. So they need to change their business models,
Yeah, but
and
in which way can they change it? I mean, you see on social media right now, everything is for free, right? The customer doesn't pay. Now, if social media needs to change and become a little bit less fake news infected, then I think one way is to say, okay, we have to have a gazillion fact checkers, or we have to hire journalists, but they will not be able to charge
well,
there. So what is the business model going to look like?
no, I think you will have technologies that can semantically
Mhm.
take out fake news. I think this is all there. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I've talked to many people also in Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
There is a lot of filters available. They
Mhm.
just have to activate the filters, and they have to train the filter, because that's AI, or let's say called machine learning
Machine
behind that.
learning, yeah.
So
Mhm.
you have to do that, and this has to accelerate now. So I think in media, broadcast, entertainment, you will see a huge digital acceleration coming, and this is a huge success. I mean, think about augmented reality, virtual reality. People will spend more time on these new media, in these new media forms, if they offer an attractive value proposition
Mhm.
and also business models. So there is opportunities, I think, and it's not only Netflix watching a movie. I think it's much more. I mean,
Mhm.
actually, I think social media will have a role, but social media has two roles. One is the communication side, and the other one is the information side. And on the information side, if social media is not working on kind of self-protecting their their platform, they will lose,
Mhm. Mhm.
because people will spend less time on social media, and they go back to traditional media, TVs, and they read newspapers online, or in print form.
Mhm.
So you will see a change there, and it is also the big chance of new companies coming up. I mean, this is not given. This is not given to This is not given to Google or Apple or Facebook. This is not. They have no right for success that this continues. They have to also come up with new models, and they will. I know a couple of ideas already, so they will. But I think it's the chance for new companies, for even startups, to start here and use the kind of the avalanche of this crisis to gain market share and to gain attraction.
Mhm. I mean, let's think a little bit about the film business. Do you think that big Hollywood blockbusters can still come out if the theaters are going to have to restrict access and essentially have to sell less tickets because people need to be spread out more? What's the impact going to be? Do we see a rise of producers like Netflix and Amazon who actually say, like, we don't produce for cinema anyhow, and is Hollywood going to go down with that?
No, I think creativity stays, and there might be new players. I think if it's Hollywood or if it's Netflix or Amazon or whoever it enters, or from China, Japan, or Korea, whatever it comes from, I think it's about the story. If the story is good, people will watch it,
Hmm.
regardless of the format. What I
Hmm.
think what will happen is that the cinema industry will face a problem because of, let's say, this conditional access to buildings. You
Hmm.
might not want to sit next to somebody that you don't know, so you can sell less tickets in the same rooms because you only uh, have limited access in terms of numbers of people into a screening room. Um, so there will be, and I think also the quality formats like a Dolby Cinema or IMAX, this will gain actually.
Hmm.
These formats will gain because people want to go to cinema and then have this outstanding experience. Otherwise, I watch it at home. So
Hmm.
I would say the cheap seats get under pressure and the quality seats will rise.
So it's going to be a special experience in a room that is specifically made for maybe small groups of people who trust each other.
Yes, I
Hmm.
think you will see a lot of that personal hygiene factors that are important. I want to know that the health and safety regulations are really taken care of. I mean, in some countries, health and safety is a paper on the wall or somewhere in the cupboard and nobody cares. I
Hmm.
think this will go away. So
Hmm.
there will be clearly measures because people are very anxious about biohazards and all the other things. I mean,
Hmm.
this will be important for these companies to continue business. And of course, I mean, for a consumer, maybe you have to pay more for that.
Hmm.
In the end, the price is also a factor,
Hmm.
and we'll see how the price policies turn out after the end of, or let's say, when you open up the business at the tail end of Corona. What are we doing then?
Hmm.
I think there is again a chance for many new businesses to come back, but without digital, you will not survive. That's clear.
Mhm. So let's shift focus maybe on festivals, theaters, venues like museums where culture happen. I mean, we are looking at a massive change in attitudes. There's certain fears rising now in the population about going to events like this. Like, what, in your opinion, should a music festival, for instance, do in order to stay competitive going forward? Because when I read you correctly, you're saying back to normal is not going to be an
Yeah.
option.
Well, I think consumers and the audience will want that the health and safety regulations are really executed.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they might even want that only people that are healthy can access a building.
Hmm.
So this conditional access discussion will start soon.
Hmm.
I know even startups who can really support that, and they could really drive now,
Hmm.
even one from Salzburg. So there are opportunities that can be huge for new technologies.
Hmm.
I think secondly, in the buildings, you will see all these hygienic locations where you wash your hands, and all these kind of things will be increasingly important for the comfort of the consumers or the audience, that they feel safe in that building. uh, maybe there are less seats available then, or you go for the full load, but then you need to make sure that only healthy people access the building. And of course you will offer the performance online. I mean, I think you will have this additional revenue stream. I know a lot of people don't like that in that industry because they think it has to happen in the room. And I totally agree with that actually this is the ultimate experience. But maybe not everybody can be in that room, and that's why I think there will be paid services that needs to be created, and actually really best produced live productions, where you also have maybe new experiences of, let's say you have a couple of cameras watching a stage, and then maybe you want to, when you are at home, you want to view different cameras on your
Yeah.
own. So you become your own director. I mean, this is another startup we have from Salzburg, Native Waves. And so that would be a huge advantage in my point of view, that you can use technology to make an experience really interesting for home.
Well, multi perspectives, interaction in a live event,
Yes.
that increases really the retention and the
Yes.
engagement of audiences that are watching from afar. But let's go back to the to what some of the experts are saying, and that is that no matter how long this current shutdown will last, it is very likely that next year we have a similar situation again, when the infection rates go up again seasonally. Um, is if that were the case, does that mean that every institution in the arts, everyone who's doing event, needs to have a contingency plan in place in order to go online quickly and operate, with under shutdown conditions, in a way that is actually delivering something to the customer?
So, I mean, it really depends what you want to do from as a festival, or let's say an opera house, or concerts or exhibitions. I mean, all the arts performances. So it really depends how you want to run it. I mean, I think there will be a coexistence of physical performances, where you go into a room and you sit there and you enjoy, and you love to play, or the opera or the concert. But you will always have this digital companion. I think a digital companion will be a must. And now, of course, you can discuss, okay, do we need Windows? Do we say, okay, the performance is today, and the digital you can only watch 2 weeks later, 1 week later. I mean, similar to cinema, you have the cinema window where you perform, let's say, the new blockbuster on April 3, and then 6 months later you can watch it on Netflix or so. So there might be a window discussion about when you go from the live performance to the recorded, and when you show the recorded performance. Some will do it simultaneously, say, okay, this is now the new Beethoven Ninth Symphony in the Berlin Philharmonic Hall, and you can also watch it, or it's in the Salzburg Festival Hall, and you can enjoy Mozart's Magic Flute live together with some seconds delay, obviously. But that's basically, I mean, the Metropolitan Opera showed it already, that it can be done, although it's not really live, it is kind of near live. Anyway, so this most likely will be happening. I think cultural institutions and performances will have a digital companion.
So, are we in Europe positioned well enough to actually execute on all of these ideas? Is, in your opinion, our ecosystem strong enough to deal with this, or will we see again, tools being developed in other parts of the world, and we are just using them and following?
Well, I think the iconic festivals and opera houses, they will run their own business. I mean, look at the Vienna State Opera House. I mean, they do it already. So So I think this will be just normal way, and you have the content. I mean, you own the content, so you can license the performance to wherever, but they have to pay. So I think in the end, I think in Europe actually we have a huge advantage because we are originating content. We are producing content here. We're very famous in producing high grade content. So I think that Europe actually, our culture coming from Europe could be a huge export item into the world, because maybe Japanese customers will not fly over for operas because it's too complicated, but they want to perform, but they want to enjoy it. So I think this will happen. So I think it will be a normal way of following this trend, and it's an economic need in the end, because you might have less revenue from a live performance, and you will get more, you get additional revenue from the digital side of the business. And I mean, opera houses or everybody it will be wise to invest in that if they have not done it already, or go to platforms, and ideally not use any let's say platform that is exploiting you then afterwards. But this is not a rocket science to create a digital platform, or use existing platforms. There are European service providers. So I think you don't have to go to the US or to China to perform that. I think actually we should not do that. We should keep that in Europe.
So you are very positive about our situation. You see a lot of chances. Andreas, maybe to wrap it up, we are going through a time in which we have immense changes. I mean, right now, for instance, we're talking about the Karajan Music Tech Conference. We had to decide in essentially a few hours. Okay, what do? We said we want to bring the whole experience online. Let me tell you, it's not easy to do it. There are no out-of-the-box solutions.
You're doing a great job, man.
You know, the thing that I personally see as the biggest chance we have is that we are now creating these communities of people who would not have been able to come together physically. And this is something that gives me a lot of hope, because we are already seeing that ideas are being taken up, they are being put to work, people are working on creating something. I just want to pitch one little thing. For instance, together with Music Traveler, the Karajan Institute is currently working on a platform for musicians to play concerts from home and actually, you know, create a unique experience that people are willing for them to pay a ticket. You know, it's not just they are playing and we are streaming, but there is additional things that we're going to present at the conference. But the idea is here that we can actually build this within a matter of days, and that is just unbelievable that we can do this today. Andreas, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, talking to us. We will be linking to your article in the video comments, so that everyone can read and participate in the discussion. And of course, you know, I'm looking forward to also seeing you Friday at the conference and keeping the discussion going there. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's not the end of the world. I think there are too many people talking about it. Of course, it's a catastrophe, but I think it's the job of leaders now to step up on, not in the political side, but in the business side. And I think we have to start the digital acceleration and help everybody to do that. That's what I'm doing with my company. And actually, we're working on every day with startups and new startups to develop new ideas. That's what we have to do right now.
That's it for today. Make sure to sign up for the conference completely for free at www.karajanmusictech.com, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.